was written by Jim Payne. And it's called Wave Over Wave. And the first time I ever heard it was about 20 years ago. Michele and I were driving on a beautiful Christmas Eve down to Portigrave, and Michele said, "Sonya, you've got to hear this piece." And it was one of those perfect Christmas Eves that was quiet and the snow was falling beautifully. And we just drove and we wept. And 20 years later, we get a chance to perform it.
My name's Abel Rogers, the chairman am I, on a three-masted schooner from Twillingate Isle. I've sailed the world over, north, south, east and west, but it's the middle of nowhere that I like the best. And it's wave over wave, sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me than to sail the South Sea, boys, sail the sea. There's no other life but to sail the South Sea. My work it is hard and the hours are long. My back it is willing, my back it is strong. And when the work's over, it's whiskey we'll pour, and we'll dance with the girls up on some foreign shore. And it's wave over wave, sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me than to sail the South Sea, boys, sail the sea. There's no other life but to sail the South Sea. I'd leave my wife lonely 10 months of the year. She made me a home and raised my children dear, and she never comes down to bid farewell to me, or to ken why a sailor must sail the South Sea. And it's wave over wave, sea over bow, I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me than to sail the South Sea, boys, sail on the sea. There's no other life but to sail the South Sea.
Well, I can't complain. I haven't had it as hard as some, God knows. And the bit of time you've been around in the past 16 years, well, you've been a good man. I remember the year we were married. That was a good year. You were working for my father, and it seemed to me I had you all to myself, every minute of every day, and all the sweet long hours of the night. I think that was the happiest year of my life. But by the spring of the following year, just after my birthday it was, you got to be itching for something. And in no time at all, you'd gone down and you'd signed up on the Mary Eleanor. It was then I knew I was married to a sailor. I couldn't even bring myself to go down and say goodbye to you. But now I'm not complaining. We've always had a roof over our heads, and we've never wanted for very much. Well, I've always said now I never had it as hard as May. Sure, her husband Jackie'd only be home 1 week out of every year. That's when he was working on the coastal boats. My dear, when he'd come home on the Prospero, she'd have to go down there and get him because he was too blind drunk to make his way home by himself. And I'll never forget the night I was over at Nan's. The night Poppy Rogers came home. Poppy Rogers, gone 11 years. We hadn't had any word from him. We didn't know what had happened to him. Sure, we'd given him up for dead. Well, that night, Nan looked out the window and she saw him coming up the path, and all she said was, "Put the kettle on, Frank's home." but I do wish you'd been with me when Gary died. My God, that was a hard winter. The flu, epidemic proportion, they said on the radio. I remember the night Mom and I laid him out. Oh, your mother came over too. I think Gary was her favorite, really. Well, that night I sat up in that big old chair your brother made. And I must have dozed off, because I woke up around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and just for an instant, you were there, bending over and kissing his cheek. Well, you were back in port 6 months later, and you gave me Kevin. And Kevin had the croup. He coughed and he bawled for a solid year straight. He had me raftered. He had me clear drove off me head. And the next year you were only back for a week. I got Rose out of that visit. But you always bring me such lovely gifts. Sometimes a year goes by and I don't have any letters or anything. It's just bits and pieces from here, there, and everywhere. A beautiful shawl arrived for me in the mail today. 3 yards of beautiful colored silk. It's gorgeous. I wonder where it's from. Spain? Morocco? Someplace I've never been to. Oh, it's beautiful. It puts me in mind of warm winds and people speaking in foreign tongues. But where am I going to wear it? I suppose now I'll put it on when I go out in the garden digging up a few turnips or making a bit of soap out of lye. Anyway, I'll go light the candle for you now. It'll always be here in the window to guide you home. I'll always be here, God willing. You know, for the bit of time you've been around in our married life, you're the only man I ever had. You're the only man I ever wanted.
And it's wave over wave, sea over bow. I'm as happy a man as the sea will allow. There's no other life for a sailor like me than to sail